the Fortitude mains, and not only. This is the one of the best shatter units in the game right now, with great survivability, boosting damage, reduce damage, and yes, should be your sub DPS. But for anyone who don't have strong DPS like Plotty for flame or Yan Miao for physical, on global she could be your main DPS too, which we'll be talking about that later. Main skill: damage, pull enemies, give us the vengeance tag, and activate the field for 30 seconds. Cooldown is only 20, so we can easily keep this buff constantly. That will be your main source of damage for Asuka sub DPS. Whenever we deal damage, we summon a small spare for additional flame or physical damage. In addition, we gain AT field that give us the damage reduction based on remaining durability. Let's say you are at 60% at the moment, you will reduce 60% of the damage taken. And no matter what, you have at least 10% damage taken, because minimum is 10. Buff disappear only if you run out of the time. And during that buff, we gain hyper body and boost physical and flame damage. Also, we can cheese, and the field can protect you, and you won't die from the fall damage. If you activate Fortitude Resonance, additional block effect will be added for more survivability after you get hit, because it will consume 1 stack when you take a damage. Any Discharge animation enjoyer? Well, Discharge is nice animation, but for optimal damage you want to cancel the animation. Good news for tank enjoyers: if you activate the trait, your minimum duration will be now 30%, and you have always 30% damage taken, at least. This trait is not recommended for DPS comps. That's why we need to use different traits depending on your comps. For physical teams, your best pick will be Yan Miao Miao trait and use her as a main DPS. If you don't have Yan Miao Miao, use Asuka as a main DPS and try to bring 2 other units who activate Resonance, of course, and buff your damage to your team. Zeke could be the main DPS with the Zeke trait, but Zeke main DPS is just copium in my opinion, unless you have a A6. I would prefer to use Nanin that Zeke as a main DPS. Rotation showcase in another video. Same situation for flame teams. The best pick will be the Plotty trait and use her as a main DPS. If you don't have a Plotty, use Asuka, Nanin, Liuhua or Ana Boom Boom as a main DPS. 2-piece boost both flame and physical attack. Dodge attacks consume additional stacks, and this 2PC is recommended when you get at least 1 star first. Yes, because give you more stacks and during rotation help you to spend all these stacks easily. 4-piece more elemental damage and boost your Asuka sub DPS. If you don't mind to stay for a while with Asuka, that matrices are really good. So 4-piece is recommended for Asuka, but you want Asuka A1 first and then 4-piece, and that's it. A3 or A5 is just for tanks. A1 is 50% damage increase to skill and extra damage when you spend all stacks. That's the reason why we want A1 Asuka and we don't stop at A0. To take a note, your main weapon must be physical or flame, otherwise no damage from A1 effect. 3-star, this is the must for Fortitude mains. Still good for solo content and DPS comps, because there is some bosses in solo content where we need to break that shield, otherwise we can be in trouble, so up to you if you can afford. 5-star for more survivability, again good for tanks. A6, more damage boost, and for Fortitude mains, now you can be the great support and your friends can ignore the part of the shield, that's the damage reduction, any weakness enemies around you by reducing resistance to the targets. And to compare CN values, matrices to global, same like Yanuo matrices example, A0 4-piece, it's already strong. You can easy stop on A0 and this will boost your team a lot.